Hi, I'm Alicia Rye, and this is Quarantine Cuisine. We're not eating these flowers. This is very loosely tied to cuisine, but I figured something we can do while we're waiting for, things to cook or bread to rise or whatever. Some of you may know that I used to be a florist, so I still really like floral design. I don't have to deal with brides anymore. It's all good. And when I was at Trader Joe's during my weekly food run, I actually realized that they were still stocking their flowers, which I did not expect them to be. It was very nice of them. So I figured I would get a few, and then, I would just pretty up my house a little bit, because it's hard, when you're stuck indoors and you don't get any light, and you get a little bit, a little bit dark and depressing in here. So flowers always cheer me up. I think they cheer up a lot of people. My biggest regret, I think, before all this started, is that I didn't go to Home Depot and buy like 80 million plants. Because then I'd have like a little mini nursery in here and it would be so nice. But I didn't do that, so this is all I have. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a dozen roses arranged. And all this greenery is from my garden. It's eucalyptus. I very much like it. It smells really good. And this is kind of how I, trim the plant. But you can get greenery anywhere. You can get it from your garden if you want. Or you can get it from your florist or Trader Joe's or Whole Foods or whatever. I would say always go to your florist because they're mom and pops, but right now they are not essential businesses, I believe, so they are not open, unfortunately. So Trader Joe's it is. Trader Joe's actually has very nice flowers though. Their roses are really good and they're pretty cheap. They're $6.99 a dozen, which is extremely cheap. It's like at cost. They must have their own farm or something. And when you buy roses, you want to make sure that their heads are a little firm because that means that they'll last a little bit longer. When they're blown open, that means that they're kind of at the end of their lifespan. And you just want to make sure everything's good. If this was back at my flower shop, I would have been using a knife to cut these because that's how I learned instead of scissors or a clipper. But I'm trying not to do too much with knives right now because nobody needs anybody else in the ER right now. Let me clean it all up later. And usually what I do is when I do a dozen roses, I green the vase first. I have a lot of cleanup to do later. And when you green the vase, what you're doing is you're basically making a grid for the flowers to sit in. So once you've made that grid, the flowers eventually will stop moving. Right now it's okay if they're flopping around a little bit, because when enough stems get in there, they're gonna kind of like interlock with each other. Flower arranging is actually very cool. It's like a science. And make sure you peel off anything that's gonna be below the water line. I think one thing that makes people really cool is that we do, even in rough times, kind of seek out something pretty. I was looking at the the Javits Center. They're repurposing it for patients. One thing that struck me was in the little hospital bedrooms that they'd made, they'd put a little succulent next to each bed. And I was like, oh my God, that's so cute. Like, that's so nice. That means like, somebody cares that patients are gonna see something beautiful when they're, there. And then somebody told me that it was staged by the National Guard and they're not actually putting succulents in the rooms, which makes sense because you're not supposed to have live things around people who are immunocompromised. That's why we can never do flower deliveries to certain floors in the hospital. Always check that before you send flower deliveries to a hospital. Because I think it's really, it's just nice. I think we are unique creatures in that even when things kind of stink, we need something that makes us happy. For some people, that's books. For some people, it's 90 Day Fiancé. Not naming names. Maybe that's to some people. But sometimes it's just flowers or plants or something pretty. Now what I've done now is I put all the roses in, right? But what I kind of need is a filler in here. And sometimes people do the baby's breath. I hate baby's breath. I like to do kind of unconventional fillers. So I'm using little mums here. They're not the best mums, but they were like $2.99, so who am I to complain? Thank you, Trader Joe's, for even stocking your flowers still. Actually, when I was there, when I was checking out, this lady who was properly standing 6 feet behind me, I will give her that, was like, "You're buying flowers now?" And I was like, "Yep." Because I found that the quickest way to shut up anybody who sounds kind of snarky is just be incredibly cheerful. You know, one of the problems with being the height that I am, I know some people think I'm very tall, but I'm not very tall. I can't really see sometimes. Make sure there's no little bald spots. Oh, there's one. I am kind of a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like this. Well, I'm kind of a perfectionist with everything, except cooking, as we've seen. But this I am kind of a perfectionist. And just and there you go. It's done. There's something bright and cheerful. You know, it's not quite cuisine, but I figure you can put it on your table. It's loosely related. It's good enough. And you know, you can just have something nice in your apartment or your house to remind you that, you know, there's still a lot of beauty in the world, and you know, we'll get through this. It might take a while, but we'll get through this, and everything will, you know, even if it's not normal, it'll be good. We'll have good times again. So thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you next time on Quarantine Cuisine.